All right, how's everybody doing today? My name is Peter Del Tondo, and we are back with the Adobe Daily Creative Challenges here in Adobe XD. David, World of Design, I've never seen before. XD, welcome. Super happy that you're here. I also see D, Shannon, Sam. Nice to see everybody back today. I've really been enjoying going through the challenge files. We did a stream late last night, and I'm going to do another one this evening. And we'll go through and check out everything that everyone's working on. Let me know, how's everybody doing today? Where are you coming in and watching from? I hope you're all doing well and just as excited as I am to dive into the asset panel today. So in case you are new, there's a couple things I want to make sure that you know. Head on over to behance.net/challenge/XD and check this out. Every day we are going to unlock these challenges in the morning. So today we're going to be talking about the asset panel, beginning to make a design system. And I'm going to teach you some quick hacks today, just ways to work smarter to kind of kickstart off your design system. And especially if you're new to this, or even if you're a seasoned pro and just want to make sure you don't forget anything, I'm going to show you some cool tools and where to go to kind of get the building blocks and foundation of this and then make it your own. So we're going to have a lot of fun. I geek out over design systems. It's one of my favorite things to actually kind of roll up my sleeves and get into. I enjoy it. It's like putting together a puzzle. So really, really cool. Steve, I'm in Welly. Are you in Wales? One of our teammates over at Unfold is over there. Uh, to have a little get together when everybody is back to normal. Without further ado, each day, come on in here, click Get Started. That'll get you the file for the day. And then you can always watch the video. It'll give you the link for today, or if it's a past day, you can go back and re-watch that here on Behance or on YouTube as well. And if you scroll down, you can see the past challenges. I think this one is mine. Yeah, I did another one back in August. And so you can go in and check out all the past challenges that we put together and follow along. So lots of fun stuff. Challenge yourself as much as you would like. And then make sure you can come on over here to chat with the community or up top as well. Join the community chat. That's going to take you over to Discord and make sure that you also enroll right here and click on Take the Challenges. So we're going to go back to one or two things, but lastly, if you are new, current challenge channel over in Discord is where the most activity is going to happen. That's where myself and the other mentors are going to be looking for your projects to give you feedback and critique on. And I'm excited. It looks like Thier here has done some really cool stuff. Let me open this up a little bit. Again, this is why I love video, movies, TV, music apps. There's just so much possibility. There's so much great artwork to include in this stuff. And right here, I mean, I want to go rewatch John Wick. There's some really cool stuff to check out here and great artwork. So nice job on this one. I'll go further in depth with a review of that later this evening. But again, hopefully you're coming out with some really cool portfolio pieces from all this as well. Okay, a couple other things. Join me tonight, probably around 7, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'll be doing a live stream on my personal Behance page, so go make sure you follow me there, and I'll do the reviews and critiques live. You can join in. Last night we had Dee and Laura and a couple other folks joining in and being part of the conversation, and it's a lot of fun, and hopefully you learn as I give critique to other people and not just yourself. Okay, so let's jump into a couple of things here for today. So today we are going to work with the asset panel, which is this top left icon that you see in the bottom left. And that's where we're going to start to organize things like your colors, character styles, components, and more. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks over there today. And I'm actually going to reuse the design that we had worked on yesterday to show you how we start putting all of this together. And what we're going to look to do as we come in here and take a look at some inspiration is we want to start establishing styles for a project. And now it can be really difficult. I think sometimes we feel pressured to come up with these things first. And at least for me, I have to get in there and design and test things out. And it's usually, at least on a larger project, it's probably a couple of weeks before I actually go in and start building the design system. I need to make sure that what I am doing is going to be in line with the client's needs, that we are on the right track with stuff, that we are establishing these styles and we feel good about it to lock it in. And we can modify stuff, but we want to get to a point where we feel good and we can start moving forward with this. So it's really difficult to start off and say, this is my H1, my H2, my paragraph styles, my various button styles, icon styles, when all of that is likely going to change. So, me personally, I like to get in there, design, make mistakes, land on the things that I want, and then I start componentizing everything to be nice and consistent. So, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself that you need to have this done off the bat. Maybe you work that way, and that's great. I'm probably a little jealous of that because my brain just doesn't work that way, but just something to think about. But as we take a look at these different examples, what we want to build out are things like, what are your primary and secondary labels or buttons? What kind of avatar styles do we want? Iconography styles. What's the active? What's the hover? What's the disabled states look like? And these are all really important things to define and then set up in a way. And I'll show you how this works with the asset panel, where when you then make a change to it in your design, in your master components, it is now going to go forth and update everywhere. And so it makes it really easy to manage everything in one central location rather than trying to make a change and then realizing, like, oh my gosh, I have to change this color in 600 different locations, or I have to change this type. And that's a nightmare. But if you can do it in a way where it updates like that, it's pretty cool. So without further ado, let's jump in there. So I want to take a look at this, and immediately, this is some stuff that I just set up the other day. I started setting up some of the color swatches that I built out, and it's going to come over here and show me the hex code for these. But maybe I want to go a step further. I might want to give each of these perhaps a name. And I do like keeping the hex code in there, but we might just say, uh, you know, we could call this gold. We could call this primary. We could call it secondary. We can get into specifics of each of these, however you like to organize it, and make this easy to recognize. And so, as we start putting all this together, we won't want to have a messy design system here where I just start throwing swatches in and updating stuff. We want to clean this up. So what I recommend is, if we come on over here, if we go to adobe.com/products XD resources, and I'll paste this here in chat for everybody, you can go in, and if you click on over to UI kits, you can actually see a bunch of kits that have been created already that you can utilize. And now I'm against UI kits in the sense that I don't want to build an app utilizing a UI kit, because then it's going to look like everybody else that builds an app with that UI kit. It doesn't feel custom. But what we're looking for today, and I've picked out two of them. I believe one is this Design Systems one, and the other is Howard's. I'm missing it somewhere with the component library. Here, component states UI kit. And if we take a look at these, I want to show these for two different reasons. So with Howard's, what I'm seeing are different things like states. So I see here, oh, there's different drop downs. I want to have drop downs in my design system. And this might be stuff that you don't start with right off the bat. However, it is things that you begin to add further in as you design, and it's stuff that you want to remember. So you might not remember right away, like, oh yeah, of course I need radio buttons, I need checkboxes, I need toggles. What does this all look like? And now I could come in here and I can see how these have been designed and go, oh, cool, let me reverse engineer this. Let me go put this into my own design. So I think Howard's UI kit for states here is excellent to look at and see what are a various slew of things that you might want to include. When we come over here to this one, this is super detailed. I mean, I'm getting color swatches, typography, all my button styles, icons, and things like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to hit copy, and I'm going to actually just paste this artboard right down here over to the side, move this over for us. And I want to use this as a good baseline. So I may come in here and I'm going to set this up. I'm going to move this to my gold primary, and then I'm going to come in and type gold. I'm going to grab this hex color and I'm going to name this here so that way I've got it. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to keep doing this for each of my different colors. I think I got all of them. We've got the gradient there. All right, and then I can just come in, I'm going to delete the rest of these, and then you could come in and name these accordingly. I'm not going to keep going just for sake of time. I want to get through some more things. But you can see really quickly now I've got a nice layout for my colors. This is great. So go in, name your colors, make sure you update the hex swatches. But this is really, really a good start. Next, I want to come in. I'm going to move this up a bit. And I'm going to look at this and go, oh, great. Uh, Typography, I want to include this. And now in this one, they're using Lato, which is a great font. I'm going to change this out later. I would update this to be my own text and explain I'm actually going to use Proxima Nova. And then what I want to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to update to Proxima. I can just expand this out. And so once again, it's got all of my type styles. I can come in and set the line spacing that I would like any of these to be. I'm going to update that line height. And then same thing. I'm just going to actually update all of this. We will update to Proxima Nova. And great. And so what I want to show is a couple things. So we've got this. I also am going to now make this my primary dark color. So we've now assigned the color to the text that is here. And now we can do a couple of things. So I want to set a type style, and I'm gonna create this, and this is gonna again add Proxima Nova 28 point. I don't have enough information there to really instantly recognize this, but I can come over here now and name this Proxima Nova 28. I also like to do what the line height is. So in this case, if I made 40, I'm going to do 28 over 40. So that tells me size over line height. So really, really easy. And I'm just going to come in and I'm going to keep doing this for each of these styles. So I'll come in, I'll do my H2, whoops, rename H2. And then again, I'll just do, and I'm not necessarily paying attention to what my sizes and line heights are at the moment. So don't necessarily follow those as guides, but really easy. And now I can do a couple of things with this. If I wanted to, let's just say I've got H1 here used in several different applications, and I want to change this. I want my H1 to be a different color. Maybe I want it to be this gold. Boom, it updates that everywhere. Oh, maybe I want to, let's undo that. Maybe I want to come in here and I'm going to change this and I'm going to trigger everybody right now. And we're going to put in Comic Sans. And boom, all my H1s are now Comic Sans. I'm sorry, something I needed to do, have a little laugh. So we'll go back to that here. But you can see I can quickly change the style everywhere. So no matter how many instances this is in, it's going to be a one-click update. And so we're going to want to come in, we'll just update this stuff, Proxima Nova. And again, utilize this, like work smarter. Grab one of these templates that are going to allow you to put in your design system and just update everything to the styles that you need. So really, really cool here. And then we can start to show as we build this out, what this would be. So this would be their H2. And now this is currently Lato. And if you take a look at this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the H2 and now boom, that's going to match my H2 style. Really easy to keep that consistent now. And we would do that for paragraph styles and things like that as well. So I will come in Proxima Nova. I'm going to add this and we'll do right click, rename. We could say paragraph 1, paragraph small, paragraph regular, whatever you would like to do. All right, and then Igor is asking, how do you select all text elements on the artboard? I'm not sure if there's like a hotkey for that necessarily, but what I will typically do is I'll just hold Shift, or you can hold, I do Control here as well. Yeah, hold Shift or Control, and that's going to allow me to select at least the ones I want, multiples, or I can click them one by one and hold shift to get those as well. All right, cool. So we've got a couple of those things in there now. That makes it really easy. Let's go back to that design system and let's check out what else we got. So let's take a look at buttons. Buttons and inputs are something that I'd like to go over in our remaining time. So let's come on over here. Danny, I don't know if you're referring to Comic Sans or Proxima Nova as best font ever, but I think some people would argue both. All right, now I'm gonna remove some of these. We just don't need all of this stuff here. This is a little bit more complicated, and I'm just gonna simplify this again. Again, we don't need all of this, but I do want different buttons. And so generally what I like to do, I'm going to undo that, is I know that we want to have just some this again. We're gonna go primary, secondary, disabled. That's fine. I'm gonna delete that, undo that, undo that. Okay, so we want primary, secondary. I also want to have, so we click in here, active. I want to have active. Then we want to have hover, hover, which actually these are switched. We can do focused or pressed, focused, and then lastly, I'll do disabled. So this is going to give me a few different styles. Now, I'm just writing these here for my own reference off to the side. But what I can do now is I can say, hey, primary, I want to come in, I want to use one of my styles. So great, I'm going to use that golden color for this one here. Oops. I'm going to come in and select that, and we can do that dark color that we have. So now I've got my primary and secondary. Now we're going to get a little bit complex. I'm going to turn this into a component. And now I'm going to call this button primary. And I'm going to turn this one into a component, and we will call that button secondary. All right. And now what I want to do is I'm going to come over to this where it says component main. And we've got our default state, or our standard, default active state, I guess. And next, I can do a couple of things. So I can go and I can create a hover state. And this is really cool for a couple reasons. If I come in and edit this, maybe I want to come in and I'm just going to darken this up just a tad. So in that hover state, I just want it to darken a hair. This one is going to be harder to see in that. So this one might reverse in my hover state. And when I click on this, go to hover, and maybe in this one, we will go gold in our hover state. So we've got our default, and then we've got our hover. We could also do stuff with this where we could have some fun here and say, in this, I actually want this to be a border. And I'm going to bring over that color. Oops, that's doing the whole text. All right, so we've got that. And I actually want to remove the fill. And then with the text, we could have this. And then on hover, maybe what this does instead is it fills in with that same dark color, and then the text is going to go to white. Okay, so I've got a couple things now, and when I go to prototype this, or this is where it's cool, when I go over these with hover, and that should work. Oops, there we go, on my, great. Now when I go over these, you see how that gets darker, and boom, automatically. Really, really cool how that works. So nice and simple. So now what I want to do is I want to add some additional states. And so I'll just add another one here, and maybe we call this disabled. And in this disabled state, maybe I want to bring this down. I'm going to use my gray color. I'm going to bump up the contrast of this. And so I've got a nice disabled state there. On this one, I could do the same. I could call this disabled. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to make the fill. Let's go with that same light gray color. And we'll do the same thing on the border. And then there, that's my disabled. So what's really cool about this is I can use these states, and now anywhere I want to put a button, I can just put in the state that I want. So when I need a disabled state, I don't have to change anything. I just pull in my button component, and then I change the state that I want it to be. So really, really cool, really, really easy and flexible to work with. And we can do the same kind of thing here with input fields. So maybe I'll use this as kind of a starting point. I'm going to ungroup this, and we can turn this into a input field, and we'll say input field. I want to anchor this text to be left justified. I'll make this a little bit longer. I want to move this in a little bit. Okay, and so now update this to Proxima. We'll go regular. Okay, so I want to do the same thing. I want to create another component here. We'll call this input field. And now I can do a couple of things. So I want to create another state. Let's just create another one, and we'll call this our typing state. And in this, I'm actually going to add a little bar here to kind of be my type indicator. I'll make that this yellow color. Okay, and maybe we'll start that right there. I'm going to bump this over just a little bit. Okay, and then maybe when we're active in this state as well, I want to do something like, let's change the border to that yellow color as well. All right, cool. So we've got this here now. If I want to get into this layer, maybe I'll do something. I'll put like a little shadow on this with that as well. I'm going to put in a fill so that way we don't have that shadow showing up behind. I like to blur these shadows quite a bit. I'm going to bring this down, and then that's way too strong. So we're going to knock this down. We want it to be really subtle. Something like, usually find like 8 to 16 works pretty well for me. I'm going to soften that blur a little bit. And I don't like the border. I'm going to make that, oops, let's have that border, maybe something like this. Okay, great. So that is now my typing state. And then once again, I may come in and, let's have a disabled state for this. All right, so let's click on that. We've got disabled. We are going to remove this item. I'm going to move this back to be 16 from the edge. I want this to be grayed out, and I'm going to gray out the fill of this as well. So let's come in here. We'll do a fill, and we can actually just make this text white. And we can soften this up here. Let's pull down the opacity, actually to like here. I'm going to color picker that, keep that at 100. I don't like using opacities. I think we talked about that a little bit. And now we've got a nice disabled state for this as well. And then once again, I can come in, and as I'm building out my form and I'm doing my different examples, I'll be like, cool, I need one that shows actively typing. I need one that shows disabled. And again, I update this anywhere in my designs, and this is going to update all of those input fields all across the board. So I change type, I change type size, color, the stroke widths, all of this stuff. So hopefully starting to click and make sense over here. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to clean this up. This is pulling some stuff when you see the link. This is coming in from a different source or a different file. So it's linking those. And that comes from when I copy pasted that document over. All right, and so which one is this? Highlight on canvas. Okay. All right, so I've got my input fields, I've got my secondary button, I have my primary button, I've got my type styles, I've got colors started here. And hopefully everybody's starting to understand this is the same process that we're going to go through if I wanted to create like a little 24 by 24 icon here. I'm gonna come over, I'll just grab these self chart pin. I'm gonna pull this over and I'm going to shrink this to fit in here. And I'm going to size these up however I would like within that frame. And what I would recommend is doing something like this, group it, you can then hide the background. And we're going to do that same thing. So now I can come in, create a component. I'm going to have icon, 24 pixel, and then heart pin. And now if I want to go and replicate this anywhere in my design, but I decide, hey, you know what? I want these all to be gold. Boom. It's that across the board. So once again, all of this is going to make it really, really easy for you to update everything within your application really, really simply. So what I would love for you all to do is start to put this together for a project. Maybe pick the one that we worked on yesterday or a different day and start building out your typography, your color, your button styles, input field, whatever you're using, and organize this so that way you'll be able to incorporate this in your designs. And I'd actually recommend using yesterday's or day one's design since we are going to repeat some things with both of those designs. So it'll come in handy if you start putting those styles together. Anyways, I hope you all follow me on Behance. We'll be doing the streams tonight. Make sure to check out, we've got, let's see, Kyle T. Webster and Voodoo Val coming up today as well. So make sure you stick around for those. I'll catch y'all soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care.